Hello, I'm going to be doing my Bible project on 5 verses about serving and how we can do the same. The first verse is Romans 5:8. But God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. This is kind of like an obvious verse about Jesus sacrificing himself and giving back, because he sacrificed his life for us, for the whole world, and that's like the biggest sacrifice. And it shows us that we need to make big sacrifices in life. Maybe not give up our lives in this extreme of a way, but give our lives to Jesus and make sacrifices and not participating in worldly pleasures and participate in godly pleasures, I guess. The second verse is Matthew 20:28. Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. This verse is just a super obvious verse almost. It's just insane that the Son of God, the Son of Man himself, the King of Kings, literally no higher power, served people. And if we don't do the same and we don't serve people the same, it's very ignorant and selfish, because God himself, Jesus himself served people and didn't come to be served but to serve. The third verse is John 13:12-14. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments, he resumed his place. He said to them, "Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so am I. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet." This is a classic Bible verse about Jesus serving, and it kind of said what I explained in the last verse, even him, the Lord and teacher, is washing your feet, you should wash, other people's feet. And also it kind of means that we should do the dirty work in life, even if we don't want to, even if it's gross, even if no one else wants to do it, we should do it, and we should just do it with a good attitude and not complain about it, and just get it done because it has to be done. The fourth verse is Luke 6:38. Give, and it'll be given to you. Good measures, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. This is an example about how we should give back. And it says give, and it'll be given to you. And that can go either way. So if you give back in a good way, then you will get service back in a good way. It's kind of the concept of reaping and sowing. But if you give bad vibes out and bad attitude out, then you'll probably get a bad attitude back. The fifth verse is Matthew 23:11. The greatest among you shall be your servant. I think that this concept kind of gets confused a lot, I guess, because usually when we think of our servants, or people who work for us, or people who are lower than us, people who are poorer than us, we think of them as not loyal or trustworthy, or anything higher than us, obviously. But in reality, they have so much on the line, when they don't have that much money and they're working for you or whatever. And today's age, not legit servants, but they have a lot to lose, if they're not trustworthy and they're not loyal, they could lose their job, and they could lose all their money, they could lose their only support system for their family. But for the rich, and the employer, I guess you could say, they have all the power, and they don't really have a lot to lose if they're not loyal or trustworthy. So I think that's kind of what that means, and I think that a lot of people need to remember that people who are lesser than us usually are more loyal than people who are more rich or at the same level as us. The end. That was my project.